So, what's more embarrassing? Is it losing as a double-digit point favorite against a team that has been openly punting the season since before it even started? Or is it surrendering 10 touchdowns to your opponent whom you make look like prime Ohio State playing like an FCS team? I mean, I know objectively it's probably the latter, and I know I can't blame every malfeasance I suffer on bad luck, but how come, okay? How come I was the only one to pick the Cowboys as my lock and then get burned by them in a week where everything else, I think, went pretty much as expected? Well, maybe the Dolphins turning the Broncos into glue was not expected, but in fairness, the Broncos haven't looked good all year. They've looked a lot more like the Western Michigan Broncos, although, frankly, I think even Clayton Shipley and Brooks Ball would put up a better... I'm talking about my goddamn story again. Why do I always do that? Well, in case you couldn't tell, you probably could, these videos never really have a script. It's just me saying whatever fancies my stream of consciousness, Chat GPT style. Whatever the next word is, I fill it in and just hope that it isn't a slur. That's a joke, I should clarify. That's not actually true. But what is true, great segue, Robert, well done, is democracy won out this week in Toto. And by that I mean, we never actually voted on it, but you guys pretty roundly rejected the concept of power-up shop hours, so I have scrapped them. They are gone. You can buy power-ups whenever you want now, so long as they are available. I'll get more on that in a minute. But the other thing is, Week 9, I think in previous recaps I referred to it as Week 10. It's actually Week 9 that I haven't decided what to do with yet. I need your help. We could do a massive team battle. We can't do 2v2s, like 2 people versus 2 people, because that would leave an odd matchup at the end. But you know what? Let's move on to the next thing, which is results from this week. A lot of close games again. I don't know how that happened again. There's even more of them this week, including Rowan. Congrats to him. He got his first ever win in Toto by a whopping 3 points over Will H., who has to be fuming. Has not lost a matchup by a single bet. He's had the same number of wins as his opponent in all 3 weeks, but he's 0-3. Also, commiserations to Morgan, who put up more points than most people this week, but suffered a loss at the hands of Marshall, who casually notched a 9,500-point perfecto, his second of his career through just 3 weeks. That really is impressive stuff, and it means that he moves into the top spot in the table. Gabe, whom he dethroned, is all the way down in 4th place. I guess the theme for this week is, other than that, tough going for the rookies still. Riley, the only one in the top 9 with him, and she's all the way at the bottom of that. The other Riley, of course, the former champion, at the bottom of the list entirely. That's weird. I don't expect that to hold up. Frankly, I don't expect many of these to hold up. These don't, as I keep stressing, don't mean that much yet, Come week 7 or so, then we can start thinking about playoffs. But anyway, so Marshall scored more than anyone else this week, which meant he got to do whatever he wants at the power-up shop, and he shuttered it. Yeah, that's right. You're allowed to close the power-up shop if you want to. This week, until the next recap drops, you cannot buy power-ups. I say that. You can't buy power-ups from the bank, if you will. You can buy them from other people, but there are only few who have power-ups to sell, and they're probably going to charge more than retail value, which is, fair enough. They're a lot more scarce very suddenly. So, throw your abuse. Don't actually throw your abuse at Marshall. It's his fault, is really my point. So here's who you're playing this next week, and we have a couple of absolutely massive matchups. Firstly, me and James are playing. I don't think I need to explain why that's a big deal, but that will have to be an undercard to a massive top-of-the-table altering battle between Gabe and Marshall. It's a Legends versus Leaders game, and it's really well timed, so could have upheaval at the top of the table, but also we probably won't. Marshall also had the honor of setting the challenge, and he did something very similar to Week 2, which was bet on all 4 teams in the division. Now it's just 3, but it does have to be the NFC North. So the Packers, Bears, Lions, and Vikings, for those of you who am I kidding? All of you know that. Yeah, that's it for Toto this week. As for fantasy, I won a game! Oh my god, I won a game against another living, breathing human being. Who could have thought? Thoughts and prayers with James G, who must be, his ego and self-esteem must be cratering at this very difficult time in his life. In Dynasty, I forgot to set my lineup, so that's why I scored 82, but I think the high-scoring week in the NFL across the board is reflected in the massively inflated scores for this week. We had Gabe cross the 160-point barrier, and 4 others either surpass or come close to 150 points. So, you know, that's what having the Dolphins score 70 points in real life will do for you in fantasy. I won in Dynasty, certainly not in the win column. I don't think I'll get there at all this year at this rate, but in a different sort of way against Nolan, who, again, I accidentally started 2 players who were not playing on Sunday, but Nolan managed to score just 79, meaning I was not the lowest scoring in the league for once. I absolutely cannot believe that. And that is reflected in the total scoring through week 3. Yes, this chart is going to get less and less legible as the season goes on. I'll probably change it up so it doesn't keep looking like that. But you can see at the bottom in Dynasty, Nolan, welcome into the cellar with me. I have some Amontillado to wash down your tears in this nice cask over here. That's nobody's going to get that. Anyway, he's more than making up for it, though, in redraft, because he now has the pace to beat. He crossed over 400 total points this week, and he's never scored less than 123 in a week. That's absolutely remarkable. Gabe also crossed the 400 point barrier overall. And then in Dynasty, Russell, James G, and Connor seem to have overcome their rather subpar week 1s for, league leading aggregate. So I guess good job. Keep it up. If you look at this weekend score, look how much farther down Nolan and I are than literally everybody else. We are the only reason there's an 80 on the scale on the right side of the... Oh my gosh. Anyway, if you look between me and Connor in the middle there, to the right of that is the top half of scoring for this week. To the left of it is the bottom half. I think there's an equal number of R's and D's on either side, which means whether you're on the right or the left side of that graph tells you whether you got to win against the league average this week. That's a pretty cool feature. Unless it's mean an average, not median, in which case that is not true at all.